by the way. The SpaceX to launch Falcon Heavy rocket. I don't know what that means. There's a SpaceX launch at NASA at Kennedy Space Center.
That's a private concern, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Well, that's the only thing that we're sending up nowadays, I think, is privately owned
It's,
space.
What are they putting on it?
I don't know. It's just a rocket ship. Here, I'll show it. I'll show it on the screen. T minus 1 minute and 41 seconds, 39.
Our legendary.
It's what's his name?
What's the name? Oh, the one that has all the money.
Yeah.
Virgin?
No. Not
Brandon, is it
not
Bronson?
not Richard Branson. No.
Bronson.
Elon Musk
Oh, okay.
owns
Oh,
SpaceX.
yeah.
And,
Well, they both do.
and Tesla.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like they sent a Tesla or something up in the air
Yeah,
to
they did.
see if it could,
Yeah.
how it weathered.
So I'm just gonna leave this up on our screen, and everyone can watch the rocket launch.
well, hi, Ryan.
It
It's been
seems
a long
fitting.
time.
Hello.
You-
Dave's here. Hey, Dave.
Dave, you want to come say hi to everybody? Come on over here and say hi.
He's out of here. T minus 1 minute.
All right. We want to give a shout out to our sponsor. What are you doing there, crazy boy?
Has the Bigfoot got
Conspiracy.
Yes, I was gonna tell Michelle about that conspiracy coffee.
Coffee.
Shout out to Thad and
Oh,
conspiracy coffee.
let's speak about the news really quick.
What news?
Did you know that it was on the news this morning that they found Yeti footprints?
For real on the real news?
The real news. CBS this morning. I didn't catch the whole article, but I come running. I heard Yeti and footprints, and I said, "What's going on?" I said, "Did they just say that they really at their Yeti footprints?" And my husband said, "Yes." So.
We're gonna look that up in a minute and
Yeah,
put that on the screen
CBS.
after this rocket launch. You can see it on this monitor.
Okay. So it's going to go off in 15, 14.
Yeah, oh, commercial.
Oh, that's awesome.
Don't worry, there's no commercial on our feed here. So 4, 3,
Is it still going?
2, 1.
Let's see what happens.
Here it goes. Oh, this other feed's behind for some reason.
Oh, there it goes.
There it goes.
All right. Let's see if it explodes or anything. And you
Oh,
don't
that's
think there's
wonderful.
anybody on it?
I have no idea. I didn't look into it. I went on
Happened a couple
YouTube
times.
and they were streaming it live. And it's up in the air.
Interesting.
I don't know what's going on. We'll have to look it up. But
So the conspiracy. Let's talk about
yeah,
conspiracies.
and well, I was going to
with-
tell you about some stuff today too. Speaking of the Bigfoot thing, I'm going to look that up now. The rocket's fine. Get rid of that.
Okay.
So,
Well, I want to go back to the rocket thing.
we'll get back to that. I'm going to
Okay.
look that up too, but continue.
Well, you want me to talk about the rocket thing?
Yeah.
So the rocket thing, when I, of course we talk about my husband, so shout out to Steve Ensminger. Whenever I come in and we talk alien shows and History Channel and all that, the conspiracy part of it is you do understand that aliens, what we call an alien, not necessarily the green people. Remember we talked about that.
Right.
They actually lived on the moon, and the whole thing is the big rush is to not just NASA, but all these private companies that believe in this conspiracy thought is we're going home. It's the moon is the home. It's home.
This is what they thought in the,
the
60s
moon and
is what you're
Mars
saying?
and all
or?
that. They say that we are created from those people that live there and created us.
Who
and
said this? I
planted-
missed all this. What happened?
It's on those alien shows.
That we were originally from a race of aliens on the moon?
They created us. We're
That's
like their
awesome.
little experiment, man.
Well, that
Like,
would make sense. I mean,
It
in a
does.
certain weird sort of way.
That's where all of our technology comes from.
If you believe
that's
in-
where the pyramids came from. I mean, come
Right.
on. How
Well-
did they move those? We talked
Right,
about
we've
this.
talked about that.
$1,000 or 1,000-pound blocks, and
Oh, yeah, more than that.
and they talk about all these statues and things and how they line up with the stars
yeah,
and blah
they
blah
do.
blah. So
yeah. Well, and what's
look at me, I'm going
what's-
like this.
What's
Woo,
crazy
like a
too is,
conspiracy.
I mean, if you believe in God or Christianity or religion in general, like a lot of the creation story, you come from an alien place. God's not from Earth, so technically he's an alien
in a sense, yeah.
in a sense.
And who describe? I mean, alien. I think people in sightings or whatever have been the ones that have created this big eyeballed green with the antennas. But is that what they really are? I mean, I don't know. I've never seen one.
I've never seen an alien.
I've
Haley,
never
have you seen an alien?
No,
bummer.
Haley's Haley Monks, my daughter, gorgeous female sitting
Yep.
on the floor because she's too shy to be in video.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not coming in here to sit. Shout out to her. She's going
She
in the
might
Air
get,
Force
yeah,
in
and she
about
might get
6
to
weeks.
learn some stuff. I was gonna say,
Maybe Air Force, aliens.
Area
Hopefully you
51.
can give us some info back.
Area 51, where the supposed spacecrafts are kept and all that, that's all run by the Air Force.
Yeah. I don't think they're
You'll have to
our
come back on the
maker,
show.
but I have a tendency at some points in time to believe that they've influenced and they show, how don't quote me for saying whatever, but like when Thomas Edison came up with his thing, another dude on the other side of the earth at the exact same second had the exact same.
Tesla
Yeah, they had the
came
exact
up with
same. Their
yeah.
drawings were almost the same.
Yeah.
Like, where's that come from? Like, and they say that it's been inputted.
Well, people
into
call
their
it
minds.
divine inspiration if they're, if
Sure.
they're Christian or religious, that it came from God. It comes from somewhere.
Comes from somewhere.
The collective universal consciousness. I don't know.
Just God.
I'm just
like,
talking.
teach
These are all
us how
things you
to
can
make
look up.
electrical
We're not gonna
things. Yeah.
cite these things. Just you got to
We're
Google
just
them. We're just
talking.
talking about
We're just
them.
talking.
Oh, speaking of which, so I got to look up the Bigfoot thing, but then it's
yeah,
funny.
Yeti.
Yeah, oh, so they called it Yeti?
They called it a Yeti. So Yeti is the snow Bigfoot, right? Yeti.
Right. Yeah, that's the one
so
I always think
it
it
wouldn't
is.
be here. It'd be.
Indian Army. Yeah, look at this. NBC News, The Washington Post.
It was on CBS this morning.
Indian Army says it found Yeti footprints in the Himalayas. That's
There you
where it's
go.
supposed to be, in the Himalayas.
There you
Wow,
go.
that's exciting.
It was
Measuring
on the news, national
32
news.
inches by 15 inches. The footprints were found near a mountain. Military officials posted these pictures.
So we got to get a hold of Christy Yeti, from our sister stations. Let her know we have found her relatives.
Wow. 32 inches. That's almost a yardstick
That's a big.
by
Woo!
15 inches over a foot
They
wide.
got some big feet.
That's
They got
hence
you
the,
beat,
hence
Haley.
the name Bigfoot. Also known as the abominable snowman, Yeti is.
Yeah.
From like the Rudolph cartoons and all that.
I loved Rudolph when I
Yeah.
was a kid.
Well, I got a phone call from a guy today. Today. Not this afternoon, a couple hours ago.
Okay.
I won't say his name yet till he's on the show, but this guy is fairly local.
Is it the
and
one that I gave you the lead on?
Maybe, I don't know. It sounds similar, but basically he contacted us through Dave's son. Dave's son ran into him.
Okay.
Then he sent him this way, and the phone rang this morning, and Dave said,
You've
it's
seen
for
it
me.
before.
And it's this guy, and he basically full-time tracks these Bigfoots and stuff.
Is he the one that seen a Bigfoot in
He's
this
seen
area?
several Bigfoot.
Okay.
Or Bigfoots. Bigfoot? Deers? Bigfoots? I don't know. He's seen several Bigfoots. And he's seen a white one and like a normal colored
Like an
one.
albino?
Yeah, I mean, he's seen these things. And so, I didn't know what to expect. He didn't seem crazy or anything other than, you've seen Bigfoot.
Okay.
So we're going to have him on. We're not going to rule anybody out,
I see dead people, okay? So
She sees dead people,
Him seeing Bigfoot is
The
you know.
funny thing is too is he doesn't do anything that they do on the shows. He doesn't do like the crazy Bigfoot calls, but he was telling me like he basically he referred to Jane Goodall, who studied the gorillas and stuff.
yes. So that's what he's doing with
He
the Bigfoot.
hangs out and observes from a distance, and apparently they've seen him because he goes out all the time. And
Does he throw them food? What is he?
I don't know. I don't know exactly what he
Has he got
does.
pictures?
He claims he's got like terabytes, like gigabytes on terabytes of trail cams and all sorts of stuff. And he's not the only one. He claims there's lots of people in this area. I mean, we've got the Appalachian Mountains and
Sure.
all this stuff, and people around the area.
There's what's out there, right?
Yeah, there's woods everywhere. Well, like he was saying, he's kind of retired. He doesn't get around as well as he used to, but we live in the mountains. You don't have to go far. He just goes just into the woods, and apparently he's seen all these things. And he said a few things. Well, we're gonna have him on so we can talk about it. But I mean,
Right.
a few things he said is that I asked him if they are primates. Like, are they some type of ape? He thinks so. He doesn't really know. He says they mimic a lot of things. Like they'll make sounds of other things in the woods. They'll make sounds of birds, and birds will make sounds.
That's what we do when we go hunting.
Sure. So yeah, and they build structures, which would make sense if they're primates or
Human-y looking.
humanoid type things. So yeah, he told me a little bit, and he wasn't like a crazy person. We had a nice little conversation, and either he's going to come on the show or he's going to call in and talk about.
Oh, try to get him here.
I'll try to get him here.
I want to see if he looks crazy.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. And he's going to bring pictures and video and
That'd
everything.
be great.
I'm excited.
Get him here.
That's one thing. Like, I don't know how you feel. How do you feel about Bigfoot? Before I say,
I don't really have an opinion. I don't think, because I've never seen one, but I've seen images, and it's kind of like, do I believe in the Loch Ness monster? You know, I've never seen one, but there's people that claim there is one. They've seen it. They feel they've seen it, and it's
Right.
more than one person. So
Right.
who am I to say? Do you see dead people?
I don't see dead people. No,
So-
but I don't say you're
do you
crazy.
Believe do
Right.
you believe that I have?
I believe you've seen something. Spirits.
I mean,
or,
so we talked about my visions, right?
Right.
And one of my most recent visions, and Haley's sitting on the floor, was about 2 months ago. I had a very distinct vision that said Haley was going to get her offer in April, and she was going to be leaving for basic training in June. And if you ask her, she got her offer letter in April, and her leave date is June 24th.
Wow. So these things, sometimes you were saying you have these things where you see events you can warn people about, or sickness or something. You see all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
So you're kind of like a clairvoyant more than somebody who
but
sees
I don't know.
just spirits.
I don't know how to
Harness it.
Yeah, like I feel, and I'm not saying that mediums or other people are not real. I am not capable of doing that. I either I haven't learned how to do it, and sometimes they feel they're hokey because
Right. Well, especially the entertainment ones on TV, because it's like you're on camera, you have to produce something.
I don't do that. So
Right. Touch your head and
I see you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and then you go, well, I was. And I go, well, I meant that
Right,
you
right.
were.
Well, that's what a lot of
but
those-
you're still
Right.
yearning for. No, that isn't what happens. Most of mine are daydreams or night dreams.
Right.
In a sense, that's what I would reference it to.
Mhm.
And they're so prominent that I know the difference between a dream and a vision.
Right.
I did not know for years, but then
You did not know, like,
kept
to tell the
coming
difference.
true. They kept coming true. So
Well-
now I know what they are.
Well, I mean, a lot of police departments, detectives, especially a lot of city detectives and stuff, they work with
Yes.
psychics, clairvoyants, and from what I've heard and talked to people, like how it works is kind of like that too, where like you can't just say, well, you can prevent this crime because it's going to happen then, and then they get
Yeah.
all these ideas, and then out of
Comes in
those
pieces.
ideas comes pieces and leads and different things.
Yeah, that's what happens to me. A lot of times they're like pieces. I might get a number. This time I got months. I didn't get numbers with them. So I knew, like, I got distinctively offer in April, leaving in June.
Was this
Like,
in the sleep or in the daydream?
it was at nighttime.
Okay.
It was at nighttime, and it was like as you
You drifted when your mind goes and
Nope,
stuff?
it was before I woke up, right before I woke up,
yeah.
and it was very distinctive. And then I have that feeling. I don't know how to explain it, and I know that it was a vision. It wasn't a dream. And I immediately told her, we don't have to worry anymore. You're going to get your offer in
You
April.
knew.
You're
You just
leaving in
knew.
June. So this is what you need to prepare. She can come in and tell you if she wants, but that's how it rolled.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't get that. I don't think I've ever had visions or seen spirits or anything. I mean, I'm very intuitive. That's the closest I get to that. Like,
Well, that's a gift too.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I guess it is because I can get reads real quick. Or
I think everybody has visions. I think every single person has had a moment where they did something, and then they go somewhere and they're like, "Oh, I've been here," or "Oh," and then you realize that you dreamed it.
right.
Well,
And
how
I think
do you
a lot of people
dream
write
a
that
place
off.
or a thing that you've
They've
never
never
done
seen.
before?
Right.
It is a vision of what is to come. And so I've just, from all the things that's happened to me, I just know when it's not just a dream of something in the past, it's something that's going to happen.
That's
and
interesting.
And I don't know how to explain how
Well,
I know,
I
but
think
I do.
a lot of people write stuff off because, I mean, you can write stuff off with science or just with like ignorance, or just be like, you know, I just do normal things and go to a normal job. I definitely think there's so much more, and like with you, you have to be open to it. You have to accept it, or you're just gonna not pay
didn't for
attention to it.
years.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't like if I see sickness in somebody, that kind of creeps me out. But I told you, like I share it because I don't want to hold it.
Yeah.
Haley knows when I'm having a moment. She pushes me usually to speak up.
Right.
A lot of times I just kind of, and sometimes somebody will just touch me and I'm like, whoa, like I know exactly what's going on. Here's a for instance. I was talking to Michelle Gillum. We should grab Michelle. I was talking to her about her youngest son, and his name's Owen. And Owen was not physically in this building, but Owen came into me. And I just started crying. Like I could not control what was happening to me and all of his thoughts. And this has happened to me probably about 4 or 5 times in my lifetime. Owen was all over me, like
Where you tune
he's alive.
You tune into someone else.
Like it was just like I looked at her and I said, so what's Owen think about the situation that's happening? And before she could even answer me, my eyes welded up, like literally almost shut, and he was in me like crazy, and tears were just running down my face, and I could feel every one of his feelings and emotions and his thoughts. And I just shared with her what I was getting from him. Like I could hear his thoughts. I could hear what he was saying out of his mouth, but he was really feeling in his head.
How do you think people tune into it? Was it like I said, like you just have to pay attention to it and not write things off, or what?
I think that's a start.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times I don't have control over it. Like it just happens to me.
Yeah.
And like that, I don't know what's going on with me right now, but I seem to be in high activity level at the moment.
Interesting.
Oh, so why don't you come over here and tell the story?
Come tell the story. Haley's got a story about when you went to the Pink concert, which was a terrible storm, right?
No.
Not that?
So they oversold the venue, and there was probably 60,000, 80,000 people there. And on the beach.
Atlantic City?
Atlantic City.
Okay,
and when the
remember.
tide came in, the beach started disappearing. So the people crowded over the fencing, stormed the security. But yeah, it was a bad experience. I had this girl that was standing behind me, and the aura or whatever of her, whatever you want to call it, would not leave me alone. It wouldn't leave me alone. Like it just wouldn't leave me alone. Like I could feel that she wanted children. I don't know her.
Right.
I don't know her name. I don't know where she's from. This is all I could feel. Like I could, wherever it was coming from.
And because you turned and said something, right?
I was
You told her
telling
to?
her.
Okay.
And I'm like, somebody's near me, Haley. Like, I don't know what the heck's going on. It's kind of like what happened with me with Michelle and Owen.
Right.
And I was just like, oh my God, and she's like, Mom, just turn around and tell her. And so I started talking to the girl, and it's weird, right? They think I'm weird.
Right.
And I finally just said, you're going to think I'm weird, but my daughter's pushing me to tell you, and I see and hear things, and I don't know what you got going on, but I just had like a vision that you're trying to have a child. And she got
What was her reaction?
She got very emotional. She is trying to have children. She couldn't have children. And I knew what was stopping them.
How does this happen?
I don't know. So I just looked at her and I said, here's what I have to tell you. Whatever you got to settle down. Stop trying, for one. And that baby is not coming to you. It was like as if the baby was talking to me and saying, I want her as my mommy, but her and my future daddy are fighting over stuff and they need to get a grip. And I'm not coming down here.
And you're telling her this?
Yes. And I'm not coming down here until they get their crap together.
Yeah. Wow.
And so that's what I told her. I'm like, whatever you got going on between the two of you, you need to stop. Like, she ain't coming.
And you
She
nailed it,
ain't
and she's
coming.
losing her mind type of thing, or
Yeah,
what?
and all of her sisters, I think it was, right? And her mom was there, and they're like, and I'm like, I know you probably think I'm a freak, but I just got to tell you. So if you want her, you better have what I call the come to Jesus.
I wonder
with
if she
yourself.
ever had the.
I don't know, and like my biggest regret.
Because if she
like,
did,
I
could you
didn't get
imagine?
her-
She's telling this story right now, where she's like,
Yeah.
and there was this lady, and I thought she was crazy, and she
We're at
turns
a
to
Pink
me.
concert on the beach.
Right,
and she
the
turns
Pink-
around and freaks me out and gives me the Ouija Ouiji's and you know.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've done that, you know, and
I feel
It-
like
it
there's
just
got to be,
happens.
you know, like you do a lot of things, and you're
little
like me.
kids like me.
Listen, you're like me, and you like to do a lot of different things, right? We like to do
I'm
all
all over
these
the
different
place.
things, right?
Yeah.
But like, I feel like, oh man, with something like that, like, you almost have to do something with it.
You know,
Do you ever
I
feel that
have
way?
some people that I know that my beautician, she does on the side. She does psychic work on the side, and her and I have had numerous conversations about how do you know that you're not trying to come up with answers to help somebody, or they're real. You know what I mean? Because they don't come to me like that. Like it's this sporadic around me, that
Right.
moment, or whatever.
Instead of
And-
just being like an empathetic person who wants to help people, you really
right.
are.
I don't know if I could do
I
that.
don't-
Okay,
I
I'll
don't
book
know.
appointment with you. It's $50 an hour.
Right.
And you can ask me questions.
Well, it almost changes
Like-
things because now it's like you're getting paid money to do
but there's
it.
people. I go to one of them.
Right. Well, people
And
do it
I've
all
been
the time.
going to her for, well, she's 19. All right. I had my tubes tied. She's a local lady. I don't think she takes any new people. She only sees us originals.
Yeah.
I had my tubes tied, had no intentions of ever having any more children.
Yeah.
I was done.
Yeah.
And she told me I was going to have a baby girl.
She tied
And
them
I'm like,
things loose.
You are
didn't tie 'em up very
nuts.
well. Yeah.
And she has told me people that I was going to meet in the future, what they
Did you
look
still
like.
go to her?
You know, it's funny you asked me that. I was in the shower this morning and I was washing my hair and I'm like, I need to call. Her name's Karen.
This shows a sign. This shows a sign.
I need to call Karen. Like I just felt like I need to call Karen. And I don't go to her a lot because I don't want her predicting my future. I want control over it.
Well, that's the thing too. Is if someone predicts your future, does it? You know, it's almost like
Do you try to create it?
you try to manifest it. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's certain things she won't tell you that I love about her.
Yeah.
She won't tell you about death. She won't tell you any of those things.
Right.
She will tell you if she sees sickness and tries to help you to point what way or whatever. She sees spirit.
Yeah.
She has seen my great grandfather who stays very close to me. But she's never been wrong.
That's
and she's
interesting.
never met any of my family
Is she local,
members.
by the way?
She is local.
I've never
She's
been
a local artist too.
Okay, I have maybe an idea, but I've never been to one of those anything psychic, clairvoyant, fortune teller, any of that stuff.
Right?
But I know this woman who this is a weird story. There's nothing supernatural, but she was raised by witches. Like her family is like in a coven. Her father was like, I don't know what the word is, sorcerer or something. I don't know, but
Okay.
they're like earth witches, not like
So I call those white witches.
white witches. Yes, like Glenda or whatever from the Witch of the North.
Kinda.
So
There's witches, there's fairies, there's dark witches.
right. So
there's-
she grew up around that, and she's kind of inherited supposedly these gifts. And they have like special tarot cards, and she did like readings for people at this event like last year or something, like around Halloween or solstice or something. And
Did she read your cards?
no, not really, but she read other people's. I watched a few, like you can't really watch like when it's personal, but she told me things about it and how she does it. But
I tried.
she
that
messed some
once.
people up, like, and she's very kind, but it like some people were like, it physically shakes you when someone like
Sure.
hits on something. That's the closest I've ever seen
I
to
tried
anything
the
like
cards. I tried doing the cards.
that. Like traditional
And-
tarot cards. and-
Yep, and they scared me. Because I shuffled the cards and I went by my girl how she does it, because she explained a lot of things over the years to me with the cards.
Right.
And
So your girl uses them too.
she does.
Okay.
And I did them with somebody like 3 or 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
and there's like 100 cards.
Right.
And every time I shuffled them and he pulled out different cards and they told the same story. It creeped me right out.
That is creepy. Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I try not to mess with a lot of that stuff because like, I feel like
There's a fine line.
Well,
what is that?
yeah. And like, like if you don't understand it, maybe don't mess with it. And that's kind of how I feel with like tarot cards and Ouija boards. There may be people who are qualified to mess with those things. I'm not messing with those.
Have you ever done a Ouija board? Have you ever had scary Ouija board moment?
I've had one of those. I've had several moments where somebody close to me had a scary moment. You want to hear? I'll tell you one. So long story short, I thought I told you this. Maybe I didn't tell you this. So a friend of mine, when we were younger, who was like not the makeup story type, and his sister and a few of their friends, they were at their house. I lived down the block, and we were like teenagers at this point, and his sister was they're I won't say their name because they're prominent members of local communities.
Yeah.
But like her sister.
So it makes you non-prominent if you play Ouija boards?
No, they were playing with it. So the sister was playing with
Okay.
it. They contact this person, all this stuff, and it tells them like who they are, blah blah blah. Her brother comes in, who's my friend, comes in and tries to scare them and mess with them.
Yeah.
And they're freaked out and they tell him like, oh, we contacted the spirit and blah blah blah. He's dead. And his brother's like, okay, yeah, doesn't believe him. He said, ask him where he's buried and all that stuff. And he tells them he's buried in Fallbrook Cemetery, which I think I've told a story about Fallbrook Cemetery.
Yes. Scary place.
Scary place in a ghost town that doesn't exist anymore, Fallbrook, Pennsylvania. And so the next day, it was like summer, and the next day
They went down
they
there.
went up there to the cemetery, and the name that the guy told them was on one of the stones, and the brother was just completely freaked out. He told me about it, and he was just freaked out. So that's like one of the things that I've never done it, but someone close to me has done it.
So when I was growing up, my neighbor, her name was Janine Wimbrow, and she had like 6 or 7 brothers. Okay, and so I hung out there all the time, right? And they were cute.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And we all went in a room and we're playing with a Ouija board thing, and the thing moved by itself. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you could feel it. It wasn't somebody pushing it. It was like we were asking it questions and it was going up to yes. And like I was barely even touching it. There's no, like, you were like,
yeah.
I don't
So that's
go
the-
near them.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I don't know what is all about it, but I don't want to
One
deal
other
with
thing
it.
I remember, this is kind of a scary story. These girls at this camp I went to, they got kicked out. Like a bunch of them got kicked out because at night they got out a Ouija board.
Yeah.
And
Scaring
whatever
people.
happened, they scared themselves and caused a huge scene, but they claimed like they were doing the Ouija board and a handprint grabbed a hold of, like there was a handprint on the girl's arm. They all freaked out. It caused such chaos. They threw them out of camp
Nice.
over a Ouija board.
I really think Haley should come up here because she has something going on in her bedroom.
You have a haunted bedroom?
Ghosts follow Haley and they like to play with her. And I think his name's Carl. You named him Carl.
Shout out to Carl.
And it helps her to not be scared, I would assume. And Haley's also the one that got to see the orb. Remember when I talked about living downtown here and that big scary
The story.
orb came up the stairway?
You saw
Could
that
you
too?
at least come over here and confirm, Haley, that I'm not beep crazy?
They can
No,
probably-
you got to be on the speaker. Come on over here and come on the speaker.
Well, no, they can't.
They can't hear you. Yeah, so
So-
I mean, she's the witness to.
I forget what episode. Oh, that was in the spirit. Michelle
It
Sees
was
Dead People.
Michelle Sees Dead People.
If you haven't seen the
Yeah.
episode Michelle Sees Dead People, there are, I think, 8 previous episodes before this episode of the podcast, Into the Light with Ryan and Michelle. We've talked about aliens and Nazis and
Craziness.
ghosts.
So, Haley, will you please at least let our listeners know, smile at the camera, wave, that you were little, but you remember the big
remember the
glowy
orb story?
orb coming up the thing.
Yes, I remember because I went.
Put the covers over your head.
Under the blanket, I went.
It was kind of scary.
Yeah.
And then most recently, she has. I asked one of my psychic people because I wasn't getting a reading from who's in our house.
Yeah.
So my husband's son went out one night, and this other psychic is telling me that he spirit followed him home when he was staying in the room of the
Attached to
house.
him and went.
So now he's hanging out at our house, and he likes Haley.
No, it makes me angry.
So what does he do to you?
Yeah,
What does
talk
he
about it.
do?
I want to hear.
So I'll
What's
be,
Carl do?
I'll be
Carl?
yeah, I named him Carl.
Okay.
I'll be watching like Netflix or something on my TV, and because I have like the DVD remote and the normal TV remote, and I will sit them right in front of me. No one's touching them. Brand new batteries in them, and my volume on my TV will turn up, and it makes the noise that someone's pushing the button on the actual TV, turning it up. And then it will mess with the settings, and then my Netflix will just turn off.
So he
You've done it
messes
with
with
the
you.
other TV too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not the TV. It's just a thing that happens.
Yeah, and
No matter where I go, we moved to Mansfield, and it was doing it there too.
And she has a different TV now than what.
So this is followed you from another place.
She's just. They like her.
Did you ever try to figure out who it is, what it is?
Well, I personally wonder. So I think I told you in the one episode that I've come to the conclusion that the house that we were in, that big orb,
Yeah.
was in love with her, because I had done the research on the house in back in the 1800s. A woman lost her small child in that home.
The ghost adopted you.
Yeah. So when we went to move, that's when that orb. We were moving.
Right.
That's when that orb.
Right.
came up,
Right.
up the stairway. So I think either it's just followed her or I don't know, but it's her. It doesn't happen to me.
Carl needs to stop messing with my TV.
I think Carl is Carla.
Well, she needs to stop.
Well,
You gotta talk to her or
That's
something.
what I
I
said.
do. I'm like, please stop messing with
You
my
just have to say it's okay. Leave me alone. You need to go. Go.
I'm a grown up now. I need my own life. My other mom.
Maybe she's your guardian angel, though. Maybe she stays around you and protects you.
I don't think your guardian angel would crank up the volume on the TV though.
Well, if they want to let you know they're around.
Maybe.
The last time it turned it all the way down. I was like holding the button on the TV trying to.
Hasn't it turned it on and off too? Have you had it on and off or no?
Apparently the DVD player came out. I was sleeping in Bella. The DVD player came out. and it went
Interesting.
back in.
Interesting.
Very strange.
Very strange.
No.
You need to communicate with it and figure
I
out.
yell at it sometimes.
Well, I think I told you. Did I tell you? I'm not sure if I did tell you. Stay here. That my great grandma had. So when we talked about, I'm looking through my thing at you. When we're talking about witches,
Right.
I would assume back then. So my great grandmother, it would be if she was still alive, probably before she was born. She was in her 90s, so 110ish. So it would be her mother. So she was probably at least 130 now,
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
So back then, right? Wasn't it, witches? Everybody was a witch if they could do and see and whatever. People would travel miles and miles and miles and miles. She was psychic, and she
To
also
come to her.
to come to her.
This is your
And
great grandma.
great
Grandmother.
yes.
Oh, that explains a lot. Then.
Yep, and she would do tea leaves, and people would travel far.
You need to look
distances.
into the history of that. Have you?
So my great grandmother's passed away now,
Well, yeah, but
so I don't even know
You've
where to
lost a
go
lot
with
of-
it.
wow.
And this great grandmother is. I think I've told you the story. Like my mom doesn't know who her father is, and my father's father was left on a front porch of a farm.
oh,
They didn't have children. So it must be back in the day, the teenager got pregnant and they knew. So the teenager had the child and they woke up one morning
This
and there was a
explains
baby.
so much.
I'm a red hot mess.
You're the
right?
product of like some
We're-
kind of witch and a gypsy baby that got dropped off. This explains so much.
Explains so much. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's really kind of funny because we've done the ancestry thing and just trying to figure out who we are because I have no way of knowing who I am.
wow.
Even though my maiden name is Clark, I'm not really a Clark.
right.
Because Clark is my grandfather's name, but he's the one that was in the basket.
He was dropped off in a. Oh my god.
He was at the Clark farm in a basket as a newborn baby.
Wow.
So I do not know who he is. And then my mom's side, she does not know who her father is. She was adopted.
Well, this explains a lot. We need to do a
Yeah.
whole episode on Michelle's genealogy.
I
You're the
know,
product
right?
of witches and gypsies and stuff. This explains so much. Listen,
Maybe
we should
I'm
go.
one of those aliens.
We should go. Listen, thank you for explaining to everyone.
Conspiracy Coffee,
Thank
greatest
you to
coffee,
Conspiracy
and
Coffee.
their food is amazing.
Delightful. Haley, thanks for coming on. Everyone, thanks for
Thank
watching.
you.
There are 8 previous episodes of Into the Light with Ryan and Michelle. They're all here on our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.
It's always fun. Peace out.
Peace.